All right, let's kick off with the SABC and MultiChoice. The SABC, for its part, saying it's noted with concern the Competition Commission's ruling on a commercial agreement signed between the public broadcaster and MultiChoice in July 2013. Now, the agreement saw MultiChoice pay the SABC to carry its 24-hour news channel, this channel, SABC News, and the entertainment channel, SABC Encore, on the DSTV Pay platform. The Competition Commission says the investigations have revealed that the deal constituted a merger between the two companies. This is because it appears that MultiChoice and SABC agreed that SABC would not encrypt its free-to-air channels on digital platforms. Now, as South Africa moves towards digital television, non-encryption will be beneficial to DSTV that dominates the pay-TV market. Encryption will allow other players to more easily offer new pay-TV options to customers. Well, the 2013 deal has since been replaced by a new deal between the two companies. Let's discuss now. We're joined by the head of communications at the Commission, Sipho Ngwema. All right, apparently we're having a little technical problem. Can you hear me, Mr. Ngwema?
I can hear you, but yeah, you are competing with some noise, but I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, we'll try and deal with that interference, and I'll keep it short and sharp. Explain exactly why this is a merger.
You must remember that this agreement did not come to us. It was taken to the competition tribunal by Caxton, but subsequently, after toing and froing between the Competitions Appeal Court and other courts, the Constitutional Court then decided that we could probe with our investigative powers the agreement. And we were given some agreements before, and we were not allowed to probe and to question executives and members of the board of the two entities. So what we have now found after that investigation is that the SABC was influenced by MultiChoice to drop its stance on encryption, and therefore that protected MultiChoice and had an impact on the market, basically protecting MultiChoice's monopoly in the pay-TV market.
And was this in the deal in black and white, or a sort of off-document agreement?
It was a deal in black and white. This was the deal that was signed, I think, in July 2013. And you must remember, before the signing of that deal, the SABC stance or strategic direction was that they supported set-top boxes, they supported encryption. However, after interaction with MultiChoice and signing that agreement, suddenly they dropped that. And therefore, as I said earlier, protecting MultiChoice's monopoly in the sector, but also denying new entrants into the market in order for them to be able to come and compete, because the SABC suddenly dropped its stance on encryption. And this is where we find, in terms of the Competition Act, that once the SABC strategic direction was changed by that agreement, they were supposed to inform the Competition Commission in terms of the law. And this is why now we have reported this to the Competition Tribunal to instruct them to come and present this particular notifiable measure with the tribunal.
So why was it so wrong for SABC to say this is our stance and we're just fixing it in stone? I mean, lots of broadcasters, lots of media houses taking different views on the encryption issue.
You must remember, South Africa is a country of laws, and one of those laws is the Competition Act. And the rules are clear in terms of your competition influencing you, taking a different strategic direction. And therefore, in terms of the Competition Act, once the SABC was influenced into a particular direction by MultiChoice, they were supposed to come to the Competition Commission in order for the Commission to probe that agreement. And therefore, in terms of the Competition Act, that agreement, it's a notifiable measure. It was supposed to come before the Competition Commission or the competition structures in order for it to go through the processes.
So what happens now, Mr. Ngwema? Because surely the two companies can't merge retrospectively and a new deal has been signed. What's the implications?
The fact is that there was an agreement, which is a notifiable measure. So we have reported to the tribunal. They must be summoned to come and then present their case. And you must remember, in terms of the competition law, there is a fine that comes with not notifying the competition authorities of a notifiable measure. So that's all going to kick in, but we are all going through the processes now. The first process was to report that in terms of the facts, after interrogating SABC officials and also MultiChoice officials, even though we never got a single document from MultiChoice, we did get documentation from the SABC that assists us in terms of the determination that we have made, and therefore the transaction will now go through the competition processes, and whatever is due in terms of those processes, those companies will be subjected to that process.
Could this be costly? What sort of fine are we looking at?
In terms of the Competition Act, you must remember our powers is that we are given an authority to ask not more than 10% of the company's turnover, but also that is determined by the merits and also what the competition tribunal considers. So we are going to put all those facts at the appropriate time. Once, as I said, we are putting that process in motion. We are looking into what has happened. Once we are ready, from that score, we'll be able to go through before the tribunal to present our case in that regard.
The SABC says it notes this with concern. It sounds like MultiChoice will try and appeal this any way it can. Are you expecting a lot of pushback?
There's no doubt about that. There's been a lot of litigation in this matter. As I said to you, there was a lot of toing and froing. It's been through the tribunal. It went to the Competition Appeal Court in Cape Town. It went to the Constitutional Court. Throughout, the SABC and MultiChoice were opposing those processes. So it's part of the processes. That's the recourse they have. But we have no doubt about the credibility of our information. We have no doubt about the strength of our case.
Mr. Ngwema, can we at least get one thing out of the way? After this deal, there were rumors that the SABC had sold off fantastic archives, footage even of Nelson Mandela coming out of prison to DSTV. You've looked at that agreement around the archives and you've said that that is completely above board. No special treasured footage was handed over to DSTV.
Yes, you must remember there were two issues that we're looking at. We're looking at the entertainment channel, and we found that in terms of the entertainment channel, the SABC had control, but also in terms of the archives, the SABC had control. But in terms of the second issue of encryption, this is where we have made a determination that in terms of that determination, the SABC and MultiChoice were supposed to notify the commission, and therefore they are subject to those processes, and they must therefore subject themselves to that process.
Finally, was this a good test case? I mean, you said it had to go all the way to the Constitutional Court for you to be able to, in a sense, extract documents because the companies weren't giving you what you needed. I mean, is this an unusual case?
Look, being in the business, you would know that companies, particularly those who have big pockets, they will then take you through the legal processes, making sure that they obstruct the process sometimes they are sticking to their rights. But at the end of the day, the two companies did not allow us to get further documentation. They did not allow us to interrogate their officials. It is after the Constitutional Court ruled in our favor that we had the right to use our investigative powers to interrogate SABC former board members and officials. That we did, and this is why we got this information now. So as part of this, we know that people have got legal powers, people have got deep pockets in terms of taking us through the processes. We are not worried about that, because we know that the facts are on our side and the law is on our side.
My only confusion is that you say the encryption issue was in the document signed in 2013. So why did it have to get this messy and take this long? Why did you have to speak to those officials if it was there in black and white?
It was there in black and white in 2015, but you must remember, we were looking at the document. In order for us to be able to get to the bottom of the matter, we needed to talk to the officials because the stance of the SABC had changed. But we needed proof that the stance of the SABC before July 2013 was in support of encryption, and suddenly after July 2013 it changed. So we needed documentary proof, we needed evidence. You must remember, in terms of the law, you need evidence on top of what you have in front of you. And therefore, this is why once we interrogated those officials, once we interrogated the documents that were subsequently given to us, once we subpoenaed them, we were able to make the determination. Therefore, we have got facts, we have got that evidence which we extracted during those interrogations.
All right, thank you for your time this evening. That was Sipho Ngwema from the Competition Commission. Very briefly, in a nutshell, non-encryption favors multi-choice. Encryption favors competitors, people who want to get into the pay TV market. And the